All right, welcome to Hebrew 3, and we just started. Okay, from the beginning. Okay, so now we are going to talk about textual criticism, and you need to know how to deal with different types of information given by the textual apparatus. So number one, in order for you to understand the textual criticism, you need to know how to interpret the Latin words to English. That's why you need to use the English key that I just posted, upload on APTS Moodle. So you can download it and just try to interpret it. And after interpreting the Latin words to English, you may still find it difficult. Why? Because you need to understand the Hebrew words for the variant reading. Unfortunately, you cannot get the meaning from the Bible words, but somehow you can utilize the function of Bible words to know what it means by the variant reading. So I'm going to briefly talk about it later. Okay. And sometimes you may be feeling like every information should be given before your assignment. But to be honest, it's impossible for me to deal with every kinds of textual criticism issue. Why? Because as you are working on your assignment, you've noticed that there are different types of variant readings and even English keys. Am I right? And how can I summarize them? So you really need to spend time trying to be familiar with different types of textual criticism issues. That's it. And it's quite normal. If you find it so much hard, I want to say that you are on the right track. So don't be disappointed with the fact that, oh, it's only me, I cannot really understand. No, it's okay. As long as you are learning something, then that's the most important part. One more time, I need to really emphasize this idea that we cannot really find the best, what is original reading, depending on the knowledge that we have. Even as a teacher, I'm teaching you, it's impossible, to be honest, because my knowledge is limited, and the textual criticism should be done by the professional scholar whose major has something to do with textual criticism. That's why textual criticism itself is so complicated and sophisticated process. But why do we need to do this? The main purpose of doing this is uh, that I want you to be familiar with those textual criticism issue. As long as you understand what is written in textual apparatus, and then how other scholars try to interpret it and analyze them, then that's okay. I'm not really expecting that your answer, okay, your finding will be so much meaningful. And if you can find some significant point in terms of exegetical, variant reading, then I think that's another side. So we will talk about it, okay? Uh, Before we start, do you have any question regarding your assignment? Okay, let's move on then. Last time we are dealing with the passage of Ruth. We will just continue. Okay. Uh, let's look at chapter 1, verse 8 and letter A. Can you recognize the letters and signs here that I'm showing? It's too small. Can you recognize? Okay, then let's move on. Okay, I think this is what you did last time in your group discussion. So who was in charge of this last time? 。  . 。 。 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 . 。 .
。
James, is that for me? Okay.
Yeah, it's
Who
my
was in
group.
charge?
It's
Sorry?
my group. It's my group.
Okay, James, listen, who are your group?
Me, Kana, Sharon, and Romero.
Okay, so we have 4 people here. So what was your analysis on this? So okay, please, number 1, the first step is to analyze what is written here, okay? So you need to provide the information what it means by these signs and Latin, okay? So what is your analysis and understanding of this?
Septuagint and Vulgate
Mhm.
use K from Kere. This is
So
yeah,
what does it mean by
yes,
UT here?
as
So it literally means Septuagint, you're right, and then Vulgate adds carry. It's so much hard to understand. What do you mean by Septuagint and Vulgate as carry? But you can still, what is it? Yes. It tends to be quite simple information, right? They cannot really put a lot of words. Then you are going to have, another half of the page written about textual properties. So should be written in a very simplistic way like this. So what is it? What does it mean? By Septuagint Vulgate educated.
so Septuagint and Vulgate use the K, like translate from Kere.
Okay. But I don't want to say you got this important point, but we cannot say Septuagint and Vulgate just follow Kere, because by the time that Kere was invented, actually Septuagint was even existing before they wrote down about Kere, right? So it's different understanding, but simply, we can say that Septuagint and Vulgate, they are using variant reading as Kere. So they are not really following Kere, but Kere is identical to Septuagint and Vulgate. And their word choice is Ya, A, Sa. Okay, so this Ya, A, Sa is appearing in the Septuagint and Vulgate. Are you following me? All right. And then why is it Kere there? You can see that Kere just appears occasionally. Let's go to where? Verse 8 and letter A. Then we need to go to verse 8. And where is letter A? Here. So you can see the difference between captive and kere. In fact, when it comes to the difference between kere and captive, praise the Lord. Bible words includes both information. All right. So if I need to show you my Bible works, here, can you see? Here it says kal, and then that's a jussive form, third person, masculine, singular. Okay, this is jussive. So what is written there? And then it says captive at the end. Can you see the pop-up box, pop-up window? And then the last one is homonym one captive. So this one is captive, and this word is what you can find from the HS. And moving on to the next word, bracketed, this one is ya, asa, which is written as a kere. So what is the difference between captive and kere? Captive is a written word, and kere is the word to be read. It's a suggestion made by the Masoretic scholars. Okay, so in order for you to understand what is written, then you need to look at captive. So this one provides you the information of the written word. So as you can see that the difference between these two words is the existence of the last letter, which is a he. So the first one is taking he, and then the second one is not taking he. So what is the difference? So as you can see that in case of the third he verb, you may not be able to see the third he when it is used in what? Jussive. But it says this one is jussive in meaning, but not a unique form, not in form. But this one, kere, is jussive in both form and meaning. Are you following me? So in other words, captive is not following the specific rule for jussive, but kere is exactly following the rule for jussive. But sometimes you may not be able to see this clear indicator of jussive form. But in case of the third verb, it should be taking shortening, which means it will drop the third he. So in terms of a form, the first one, captive, is not really supposed to be considered as a jussive. So if we really pay attention to the given form, this one is just incomplete action. So in this case, what is our translation? He will do. So our analysis of this verb is what? Kal, asa, kal, prefix form, okay. CMSG, non-special future, meaning he will do. But what is the indicator of jussive form in case of third he? Do you remember? Shortening. Shortening will take place. In this case, when the third he drops, it clearly indicates this one should be a jussive form. So according to the evaluation of majority scholars, they think this one must be a jussive form. So they, instead of changing this captive, they just put their comments on the Bible saying, oh, it should be read as a captive. So what do you expect when you have kere and captive? Can you see this cough on the right side or sometimes on the left side? And then it comes with a small dot on it. So if you have cough with a small dot on it, then it indicates this one is kere. Okay? And then you go to the line and you have only one word that comes with a small circle here. Am I right? So then this one gives the idea that, okay, this word has something to do with this, and then this one is kere. And then it indicates yod, ain, and sin. So which means kere is choosing ya, asa, instead of ya, a, so, and he. So you can see that in kere, the third is missing. Can you see the difference between them? So you need to know how to analyze and understand the given information there. Clear? So in this case, going back to our Bible works, then you can see, and actually you are supposed to know because you already learned this, what is it, the indicator of jussive form in Hebrew too. But anyway, just for those who don't remember, then yeah. But anyway, that's the difference. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. But in this case, it's not really that hard. Sometimes, to be honest, I do struggle to understand. Okay. So now you can say that it's majority scholars supporting the idea that it should be jussive form, but these variant readings are supported by two. So one version, two versions. When I say manuscript, that's a Hebrew Bible. And when I say versions, that is translation, sometimes into Latin, Aramaic, or Greek. So this one is a Septuagint. It's a translation of Hebrew Bible into Greek. So Septuagint and Vulgate, it's a Latin version. So, and then Vulgate tends to be based on Greek. That's why sometimes you can see the great similarity between Septuagint and Vulgate. But anyway, here we can say that there are only two. So in your opinion, what is most likely the original text? Let's go for this analysis. I wanted you to use this table, and most of you use this textual criticism table, but there are some who didn't use this. So one more time, when you have to deal with textual criticism issue, you have to, put the given information first, okay? Like, what are you supposed to put first? You need to put this, okay? Verse 8, letter A, and you cannot really write this one in your word format, and you can just go for by name. So Septuagint, Vulgate, UT, and then you just put the meaning of UT. What is it? S and Q, kere. And I think you already have Hebrew fonts and you can write down this one. Okay, then you need to put your own interpretation. And that, what is it? Vulgate and Septuagint use ya, asa, as, kere. That's it. Okay, then next question is, what is the difference between ya, asa, and then ya, asa with the he? And you can say that Kettiv or BHS use the word as just the kal prefix in perfect form, whereas the kere is adopting the word asa and use it in the form of just. Are you following me? So you need to show me your understanding. Then the question is, what is the exegetical significance? All right, going back to the Bible Works again, let's just do this. KJV put like, and Naomi said unto her two daughters-in-law, go, return, each to her mother's house. The Lord deal kindly with you. So it interprets it not as a justice, okay, but just in an imperfect sense. So the Lord will kindly deal with you. What about NAS? May the Lord deal kindly with you. So you can see that NAS adopt the choice of what? Causative, so kere. So NAS is adopting the word as jussive. Can you see the different understanding? Okay. What about NIV? May the Lord. So jussive is there. So NIV is not following the Kettiv reading. So far, only KJV, and then NLT, and may the Lord reward you. So jussive again. RSV, may the Lord. YLT, where is it? Jehovah does with you kindness. I love this. Okay. Very literal translation. So you don't really see the concept of justice. Can you see that? Even when you're dealing with this, various English translation, you can see that some versions are following this BHS, and sometimes they follow the other variant readings. Can you see that? So in this case, you don't need to really follow anything here, but I think it's Phineas. Phineas did this way. He chose several English translation and saying that, okay, NAS and NIV are following the Kettiv reading, and the KJV is just following Kere or something like, oh, I think the other way around. So he just mentioned using these different types of English translation. I think that it's a good way to do. Okay, so I like it too, but you don't need to do it though. But I think that's a really good approach. So anyway, then what is the significance, exegetical significance between these two? Okay, let me say, the Lord will kindly deal with you. How does it sound? And how different meaning can you extract from may the Lord deal kindly with you? Is there any accidental difference? How do you think? Anyone? How does it sound? Don't be afraid to make any mistakes. It's okay. Albert, you want to go?
Okay, let me try. Okay. The first one is like it's like something. It sounds like it's a blessing. It's already there. But the second one is like a kissed. Maybe the Lord will be with you.
Okay, but what is the specific function of causative? It carries actually the wish and desire, right? So when you're dealing with the specific use of causative, you need to focus on what is special about causative. So when you see the expression of may the Lord show kindness to you, then it's more about the wish from the perspective Naomi. Am I right? Oh, I pray that he will bless you. Okay. God bless you. When you say God bless you, then we want to just bless them. Okay. But when you say the Lord will bless you or deal with you kindly, then what is it? It's more about what the certainty or faith that, oh, I know he will deal with you kindly. I think we can see the concept too one more time. But I don't want to say that my understanding should be the textbook answer. What is really important here is to really try a different approach, okay? And to see that any exegetical significance. And if you think, okay, if we want to stay with captive reading, then I think that's more significant from my perspective. If you really read from the perspective of Naomi, okay? So when Naomi was about to say goodbye to her daughters-in-law, and she really wanted to say that, I know God will bless you, or God will give you the special favor. And the word chesed was used, right? And or even Naomi can say as a wish, may the Lord deal with you. So I think it carries similar idea, but exegetically it can be differently understood. Can you see that? Okay, that's
Yes,
why
sir.
we are doing this important process. What about then textual criticism analysis? In terms of all the reading, actually variant reading on the right side. Let's put this way. This is BHS, and this is variant reading. So when I say variant reading, it's Septuagint and Vulgate. Which one is older between them? If you have Septuagint, I think you need to definitely tick on this side for Septuagint. Septuagint is one of the oldest ones. So I want to give a mark here for all the reading. What about difficult reading?
Septuagint.
Why do you think so?
Because BHS is like very easy to understand.
And if we say, may the Lord bless you or kindly deal with you, is there any difficulty?
I don't know.
I like your answer. Sorry about making you confused. I think in this case, but it's very subjective. But I want to say that there is no really big difference in terms of the level or degree of difficult reading, because it's just a way of understanding it differently. So in this case, I don't want to give any more. Okay, so they almost tie equal. What about shorter reading? So Septuagint has no hair. So this one is a shorter. So you can just give the shorter mark here. I don't know. But anyway, if we are following the rule, okay. What about best explanation? I think this is a bit hard, but if you can find any specific reason apart from whatever is written here, okay, then you can just indicate it here. Okay, so far we don't have anything. What about why this geographical support? This variant reading is supported by only two, which is Septuagint and Vulgate. And I can see that the other manuscripts are supporting actually BHS. If you have many manuscripts, okay, it indicates, right? ML and MSS, right? Many manuscripts. In that case, you can support that idea. Okay, this is supported by many, then you can give the mark to the variant reading when you see that ML, MSS. Okay, but in this case, I think we need to give the mark to BHS in terms of why this the geographical support. Usual style. In order for you to evaluate the usual style, then you need to read the whole Bible, especially the book of Ruth. Okay. And if you can find the uses of asa, then that's good. Let me show you something here. I'm going to double click on the Kettiv, and we will see what will happen. Can you see on the left side, I have all the references where ya asa is used. You didn't know about this. That's why you need to study the tutorial video of Bible words. It is all there. But anyway, you can see the ya asa. And what are you going to do? You need to go to Ruth. And you can see that this is Ruth 1:8, Ruth 1:17. So ya ase was used only 2 times in Ruth. And that is where? Ruth 1 and 17. And let's go to Ruth 1:17. And what is the translation? So here it says, KJV, the Lord do so to me. Okay. Thus may the Lord do to me. So this one is also understanding it as Jasif, NAS. But in terms of the form, it's not Jasif. NIV, may the Lord deal with me. It's Jasif. NLT, may the Lord punish me severely. RSV, may the Lord. YLT, thus Jehovah to me. So now you can see it's a KJV and YLT. Most of the English translation are using ya ase in terms of Jasif, but here we cannot see it as a Jasif. So we better choose KJV version. So the Lord will do to me. But it's not Kettiv, Kere. Can you see that? So from the perspective of majority scholar, they said, oh, ya ase is not, it's properly written. So no need to correct it. So in terms of, the usual pattern, ya ase can be used as it is. But what about then the kere? So we need to also check if there is other cases for this ya as without he. And double click on it, and you have 2 reference. One is Ruth and one is 2 Samuel. But in terms of usual style, and what is the usual, more usual? Ya, a, se. The captive is a bit more usual. You can say that, but it's 2 times versus 1. So it's a bit funny that we can say, oh, so we can see the 2 more times. I mean, 2 times for ya, a, se, and then just only 1 time for ya, as without he. It's just only 1 time difference. Then can you say that this is a big difference? But anyway, you can still go for variant reading. No. I mean, BHS version in terms of usual style. Are you following me? So I taught to you another skill here. So in terms of usual style, I'm going to support BHS. Okay? And then no doctrinal bias. Which one has no doctrinal bias? I think we cannot really see any big difference here in terms of doctrinal bias. Okay? So then, which one is taking much more support? I think BHS in this case.
Just a
Okay?
quick question, please, Professor.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
How many translations do we have to compare in order for us to get the textual criticism table?
So in sense of what? What specific part?
Like best explanation or difficult reading? No, all of them. Because I can see from your screen that you have NIV, NLT, something like that. So
No. Actually, you are not supposed to really deal with English versions, English translations. In order for you to understand the difference between variant readings and BHS, sometimes you can take a look at them. But English version itself is not really as important as what we are dealing with. So if you are really thinking about these English versions, forget about it. We are just dealing with whatever is given and in the textual properties. That means our comparison has only to do with Septuagint and Vulgate as a variant reading versus BHS.
okay, thank you.
So your comparison is just between BHS and Septuagint Vulgate. So let me say this way, BHS and variant reading. I want to say, so BHS versus variant reading. So when it comes to variant reading, then the specific versions and manuscripts are always supposed to be indicated in textual apparatus. This again. So whenever you have textual apparatus, it provides you which manuscripts, which versions are supporting this, right? So then you just focus on it. Clear? All right, let's move on. Do you have any question regarding verse 8, letter A? Is it clear? Okay. Phineas, you want to say something here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm not really quite sure about the difficult reading in the chart. Is that difficult reading is about the smoothness of the in the context of the passage?
Yeah, you can say that in a sense. Yes. Do you remember the first one? Chapter 1, verse 1, AA. So when we are talking about, okay, I will give you several choices here. It happened in the days of judgings of judges. Okay, it happens,
Yes.
that's A, and B, it happens in the days of judgings. It happens when the judge judges. So in this case, I think the BHS version is a bit hard because it repeats a lot of concept, which is nonsense, which is not necessary. In that sense, we can see that smoother translation is the shorter one in that case. But sometimes longer one is smoother and easier translation interpretation. I think we'll be able to do with something like that today, dealing with other examples. But definitely it has something to do with the effort to make the translation smoother. Then if you can see that, oh, this one is much easier and smoother translation, and that's an easier version to understand. So you're right. So typical
Doctor,
reading.
in that case,
Yeah, go
Doctor,
ahead.
in that case, so difficult with reading, and then the best explanation is the smoothness of the passage, isn't it? On the contrary, seems like difficult reading
So
and best explanation.
okay, so you wanna deal with the issue of best explanation, but I think if you
Yes.
use the concept in the section of typical reading, you are not supposed to deal with it again, and then it's not fair because it is going to take two supports already, being one aspect. Do you understand? So if you think, okay, let's say variant reading received the support for typical reading, you already gave one support. And then when it comes to best explanation, then it must be another side, another reason, and another support. But you can say that at the end, as a final judgment or conclusion, you say, because of this idea, you can sense that Septuagint or Vulgate try to make the idea smoother. Okay, that's why they change it to just see. Okay, because the idea must be just see. So from the perspective of Naomi, she is praying like, okay, as a wish. So they wanted to make sure that, okay, so there must be no head. Isn't it amazing? Sometimes just see doesn't carry the clear indicator. That's why you will see that in many places, it is absolutely not just civil form, but sometimes the English translations quickly adopt the idea of just see instead of that, you know, he will or she will or you will, but they say, may I, okay? May the Lord. So in terms of the specific given form, it's not just see, but they want to apply the idea of just see in terms of context. In that case, it makes better sense. But in terms of the original reading, I want to support for this BHS version in the sense. Do you understand? So you got a point there, but what is important is you are not supposed to double your support. If you use the one aspect, then you are not supposed to put it as a best explanation. Sometimes best explanation has something to do with the technical error. Okay, because you can see that, there are technical terms indicating these scribal errors or typo errors. Okay, these information have nothing to do with all the reading, okay, difficult reading, but you can see that, okay, when the scribe was copying the text, he was writing this part and there was an identical word in just happening. So his eyes immediately jump into that part. Do you understand? From this word, since this is the same word. And then you can say that, oh, I can see that this one is taking place. So when he was writing and copying, his eyes were to skip this part. And you can say that, oh, this is the best explanation. Okay? So sometimes you will see that this part is totally gone. Or it happens for the same letter. Have you ever tried to copy the Bible? Sometimes it's very common practice in Korea. Many Christians writing and copying the Bible instead of reading. So when they are writing, it happens sometimes. When you have the same words appearing and your eyes after writing and look at it, and then your eyes jump into the second same word, and then you skipped. You know what I'm saying? And those things are all
Yes.
technical side. Is that clear? Can you yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Doctor, I have one more question. Just a
Okay.
while back, we had we talked about the user style,
Talk about what?
and then about the usual style about the
Okay, yeah. Yeah, right.
Ketib and Kere. But the Kere, it was telling of the supporting the two verses. One is from Ruth, and the other one is from 2 Samuel. But when you see Ruth is written by Samuel, then we have to see that it's like a Ketib and Kere. It has two supporting verses.
Well, you can argue that. I don't want to say you're totally wrong. So when it comes to scholarly evaluation, they say if you
Yeah.
can find this specific word not only in the specific book like Ruth, or you can find this one in Genesis or in other places, they want to support the idea because in terms of Hebrew language, okay, in that sense, I want to say you can argue that. And then I don't want to really deduct the mark for that. As long as you have strong and support and evidence. But technically speaking, you better focus on the specific book, especially when you're dealing with this internal support and user style. Because we can say that there is a great possibility that the book of Samuel was written by other. But since this is the same book, and then you can say that this is the same story, it can be more arguable that since this is used in a specific book of rules, I want to say it's more supported by the same author in terms of user style. Even being a Korean, we do have different writing styles. My way is different from yours, so that's different. Even dealing with even the same textbook like Isaiah, but we don't normally believe that this Isaiah is written by entirely Isaiah. There are several groups identified as
Yes.
Isaiah or Isaiah's disciple, or some people who are using the authority of Isaiah. In that case, how are you going to say that? So see, this issue deals with all different information, but you are right. If you can find more support in terms of the general use of Hebrew language, and you can argue that too. And some scholars do that too. All right, thank you. I can see
Thank you, Doctor.
that Phineas is getting excited about this, and you are doing good job. I want to see this kind of serious approach. Although, you can be wrong and I can be wrong, what really matters about this Hebrew journey is our attitude toward this language. Okay? You can be serious and you can be becoming more passionate about this. And as long as you understand all the scholarly interaction dealing with this textual criticism issue, that is the main purpose. Okay. Let's move on. Verse 14 and letter A. Who was in charge of this? Last week, who was in charge of verse 14, letter A? Nobody? Probably I didn't give that because it has something to do with Greek language. Okay. Okay, just let me explain here. Plus means add. So this one is Septuagint. So you can say that, okay, verse 14 and A. Let's go verse 14. Where are you? Verse 14 and going down here. A. So we see that La Kamota. So Kamota is mother-in-law. So her mother-in-law. After this word, Septuagint adds some words here. And what do we mean by FRT? Can you find the English key, FRT? Go to the English key and FRT. Here, perhaps. So perhaps is the FRT. Then let's go back to textual criticism. So what do you mean? Anyway, the textual criticism, it provides that this Septuagint use this specific Greek word, so you need to know what it means by these Greek words, but perhaps read as like this. So somehow, for those who don't know the Greek words, you need to translate these Greek words into Hebrew. This is it. So what is our translation of this Greek? Then va, tashab, to, ama. So this one is shu. You can see that, right? So she and she, shu means return. To, her, people. So she returned to her people. I think this is the daughter-in-law of Naomi, right? Let me see. So Septuagint provides some additional information. You can see that. It's only Septuagint. Okay, let's do this then. What is the older reading? You can perhaps give the support to Septuagint. But apart from Septuagint, difficult reading, I can say that maybe PHS is much difficult because you can see that Septuagint explains and try to give us further information. So it makes better sense. What about shorter reading? Of course, PHS. Best explanation, maybe we will just leave it without having any. Why this geographical support? It's only Septuagint. So I would rather give the support for PHS. Usual style, you need to just read the whole passage. If you can read any tendency of the author of Druze, giving further information about this the daughter-in-law. So if you can see, just do not just check on this. What about doctrinal bias? We cannot see any doctrinal bias. Or you can say that, okay, Naomi has 2 daughters-in-law, right? And it is about the life of Ruth. So from the perspective of the author, probably he or she wanted to make sure that it is Ruth only staying with her mother-in-law, while the other one just went back to her people. Do you see what I'm saying? In that sense, the author intentionally emphasized the fact that the other one went back, the other one left, while Ruth is still there. Can you see? In that sense, it's not really doctrinal point, but you can see that it's intentional emphasis from the perspective of the author. You can then, in that sense, probably you can say, oh, Septuagint is an extra explanation in terms of doctrinal bias. So in this case, since Septuagint may have this doctrinal bias, so no doctrinal bias will be going to PHS. Are you following me? But if you don't think, oh, this one has nothing to do with doctrinal bias, then you just ignore this part. Okay, as a conclusion, I do believe PHS is most likely the original text. right? So we don't actually need this one, and we think this one is kind of an explanation, additional explanation or clarification done by us, the scribes of and interpreters or translators of Greek. By the way, oh yes, Samson.
So that the add in, it doesn't mean replace. Doesn't mean it just adds in that those phrases.
So as means it doesn't change the given content, but it simply puts another word. So without changing the what is written here, it just provides extra words when you have this plus mark. Clear, Samson? Okay. So you don't need to change this word coming together with the A to this. It simply indicates letter A. After A, there are some external or what is it? Augmental expression adopted by Septuagint. That's it. Clear? Let's move on. And is there any exegetical significance then? Exegetical significance? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Or as I said, Ruth, that the passage is signifying the faithfulness of the daughter-in-law of Naomi called Ruth. Maybe you can argue that too, right? It emphasized the point that Ruth didn't go back to her people intentionally and whatever. Okay, let's move on. Verse 19, letter A. L means what? Come on. L means what? So LCMLT, you need to remember LCMLT. Let's go. L, where are you? L, JKL. So here, L. Can you see? L. Right? L. So L means read. C. C means see here. With. Read with MLT. MLT. Multi or many. All right. What about MSS? MS is a singular manuscript, one manuscript, and MSS, manuscripts, plural. So what is it? You need to put in your assignment L, C, MLT, MSS, and your translation is read with many manuscripts. And they use hand. Go to chapter 19, verse 19a. Where are you? 19a. Okay, here. You can see that the she, ne, hem. But it indicates, can you see that this is a hen? And then there is one line here. What does it mean? It just follows the words, but the words after the words, the ending is only the difference. Okay. This is dealing with another case. So A is dealing like, all right, many manuscripts don't agree with this BHS because BHS is hem, but it says shene hen. And what is the difference between shene hem and shene hen? Hem is masculine, plural, ending. Hen is masculine, feminine, ending. So what does it mean? Shete. This means two. So the translation is two of them. But what do we mean by two here? It refers to two daughters-in-law. So it doesn't make sense that it's referring to men according to BHS. So many manuscripts are telling us that it must be feminine. Okay, two of the feminine then. Obvious, it's feminine. Do you understand? Okay, so that's it. So then let's go back to the table. Wait a minute. Okay, here. Which one is older? It is supported by many manuscripts, but unfortunately, we don't know which one is really supporting. So then I don't want to really take on any side. Difficult reading. Which one is difficult? PHS or variant? PHS, it doesn't make sense. So you can tick on it. What about shorter reading? There is no difference. Best explanation, leave it. Why this geography support? Of course, variant reading because of many manuscripts. Usual style, I think if you go back and you will see usual style. Is it verse 19? Where are you?
Yes, the 19.
All right. I think we cannot see. Of course, I think there must be. You need to really study how to use these Bible works. I think there must be some convenient future. But anyway, I don't want to waste my time. So click on it and you can see that Luke 4, chapter 11, I mean, chapter 4, verse 11, you can see the same expression there. And go to the part and just to let us see, I think it must be clearly indicating masculine figure. Let me read KJV. We have witnessed the Lord make the woman that is come into thine house like Rachel and like Leah, which two did build the house of Israel. So it refers to Rachel and Leah. So they are all women. And then they said that's two. This is interesting. Did build the house of Israel and do thou worthily in Ephrath and be famous in Bethlehem. So in terms of usual style, This even hem indicates feminine figure, but using this masculine pronoun ending. So then in terms of user style, hem is taking the support. It's not really one time that these feminine figures are used with this masculine pronoun ending. Are you following
So,
me?
Doctor, in this sense, should we understand that the writer of Ruth, he has little poor grammar in terms of the gender in Hebrew?
No. I think this is really common phenomenon too. It's a hierarchy society, so male dominant actually society. So sometimes it happens. Being a female figure, sometimes it is used with a male terminology. So
Oh.
I don't know if it is intentional, but it's not only this passage, but a lot of passages are dealing with the same issue. So it's not really big deal. Okay. So in Hebrew minds, sometimes that is the way it is. Okay. But I don't know if this one is really clearly applying the same case. But what I'm trying to say is not really what is it unusual that we can see this kind of a problem. And sometimes you will see this kind of a problem happening many times. I'm so sorry about my female students, but that's a male dominant society, and a lot of people were using that idea. Okay. All right. If we want to go deeper in this issue, you can perhaps go for some further information provided by Jessenius, Muraoka, and Walt and O'Connor, and go for the words of gender. Okay, you can go to the issue of gender. Then it will provide all information regarding male, female, but they will definitely deal with this kind of issue there too. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Doctor.
So, okay, we are there. So usual style, then we want to go for BHS, no doctrinal bias. Then you can say, oh, probably this is male dominant society. Then they were using this idea as, man. Then you can say, probably then you want to go for the Bedouin reading in this case, if you really think that way. Okay, so what is taking more support? What is it? It's almost time. And to be honest, in terms of exegetical significance, there is no any exegetical significance. So do not really die for this issue. Okay, just understand the issue, and that's it. As a female student, you want to really say, oh, this is a serious problem, then you can go deeper and you can be a feminist theologian on this. But I don't know. But from my perspective, no really big issue here. Okay. Let me move on. What about letter B? B section is totally, what does it mean by this sign? What does it mean? Albert, are you saying that you love me?
Decrease or increase something?
No, you need to go to the English key and
Oh, I didn't see your cursor. Sorry. Sorry.
not rely on your spiritual gift of tongue interpretation and here.
The meaning of
Plus
that is absent.
Yeah. So plus sign means it adds, and then this sign means is wanting in or is absent in. So it's absent. Where? In Septuagint, this B section is not there. Where is the B section? Go to verse 19 and B section. 19 verse B section must be, all right, 4 words. These 4 words are not appearing in Septuagint. Okay? So what is the translation? Let's just read this one. And it happened like when they enter Bethlehem. Okay, that is the translation of given words. Let's look at it. That is Ruth chapter verse 19. Is it 19? So KJV said, they too went to until they came to Bethlehem. Okay, and it came to pass when they were come to Bethlehem. So you can see the KJV is following what? PHS, NAS, and it came about when they had come to Bethlehem. It's the same. NIV, when they arrived in Bethlehem, it's the same. NLT, when they came to Bethlehem, the entire town was excited. RSV, and when they came to Bethlehem, so 2, and it came to pass at their coming to Bethlehem. So all English translations are following BHS. But if we have to put this Greek version, then what is the translation? Where are you? So the following word is, and all the city was in a roar. So start, okay? It's really to their surprise upon them. So when they just arrived. So what is the translation? So in fact, it seems like Septuagint is considering these 4 words as a repetition, which is not really necessary. So probably a Septuagint just decided to remove this word. Or can you see any significant similarity? Let's look at this. Look at this. After Lachem, this section is gone. And we have Lachem and Vatechom. So the letters looks a little similar. So when they are reading this passage, after this, they jump into this part accidentally, then they omit it. It could be possible. Okay, then that's gonna be a best explanation. Or they just consider it's a repetition, so it's not necessary. Because they are coming to Bethlehem, actually here, right? Bethlehem, they are coming until they come to Bethlehem. And then it happened when they come to Bethlehem. So can you see? It's just a repetition. So Septuagint is omitting this entire part. Then let's go for our analysis. All the reading, maybe Septuagint. But one more time, it's very simplified way of doing this textual criticism. Why? Because as I said, the textual apparatus doesn't provide every single information about the variant reading of other manuscripts. So we cannot be really dependent on this given information in terms of all the reading, difficult reading. Definitely you need to go deeper dealing with all kinds of manuscripts. But we are just exercising, okay? So do not say, according to our evaluation in the classroom, this is totally wrong in terms of textual criticism, that you will be seriously criticized because you are not aware of other parts. but we are just, I'm trying to giving you the time of exercise. But anyway, when it comes to simple comparison between VHS and Septuagint, then we can say that all the reading, in terms of all the reading, we will support Septuagint. What about difficult reading? I think VHS is more difficult. Why? Because it repeats, right? And it doesn't really make better sense and smoother, like the way Phineas mentioned. One more time, your evaluation could be different from mine. But as long as you have concrete evidence, it's acceptable too. Shorter reading, VHS. Oh, no. Septuagint. And best explanation, we don't know yet. Or if you think because of the similarity between these two words appearing just before the omitted parts and after the omitted parts, then you can put it as a best explanation for PHS. And why this geographical supports? And I think it's for PHS since it is only supported by Septuagint here. Usual style. What is your usual style? I think you need to read it through. I think we don't have enough time to go for it. Anyway, you need to read it through. And if you think this one should be repeated, then just go ahead for the usual style. No doctrinal bias. I think we cannot see any doctrinal bias. Okay. So in terms of total supports, I think VHS is taking it. Any exegetical significance? No, there is no. Is that clear? Okay. Okay, today is the last session to deal with this textual criticism. And next Thursday, we are going to move on to another chapter, passage, which is Psalm 37. So I don't think we will be able to cover everything, but let me quickly deal with several important parts among the things that you've done for your assignment. Let me quickly just help you to understand what is written here, okay? C, we have Septuagint, but what do we mean by B? And what do we mean by A and Q? This Septuagint means Greek version, Greek translation, but there are different types of Greek translation. So these are all indicating different Greek versions. So like A, it refers to Aquila, okay? And in order for you to know what it means by this, I think this one is not provided by your English key. You need to go to your VHS Bible, then it provides the information. Like on page, on prolegomena, you can you see me? You have a lot of pages in the beginning. Then you can see one of the pages indicating and providing all those information. And this one page is all about the different Greek versions. So you can see that Septuagint A means Alexandria, B means Codex Vaticanus, and what do we have? Q means Codex Marcellianus. So you can see all those information of different Greek version. But anyway, so what do they mean by these Greek words? This F-autes in Greek word equals eleha. Aleha. Okay, aleha. Let's go to C section, verse 19. Verse 19, C section is alehen. Alehen. Okay, what is the difference between them? Only the ending. And do you know that al is the preposition al, and le, e, yod is preposition. Hen is pronominal suffix indicating feminine plural. So concerning them, so they are talking about Naomi and Ruth. So upon these two, they are updoor. They are really surprised about those two people coming into Bethlehem. That is BHS. But Septuagint are saying upon, what is it? Ha. It's feminine singular pronominal suffix. So this indicates what? Upon her. What is it? Actually, Bethlehem is not the hometown of Ruth, but it is the hometown of Naomi. So when Naomi and Ruth were coming back, people were not really familiar with Ruth. So they are saying that, is Naomi? Is this really Naomi? And then they are, surprised. So Septuagint is emphasizing that, the city was in uproar because of the coming of Ruth. No, Naomi, not Ruth. So that's the difference. Can you see the difference? Okay, I don't want to go for the analysis of textual criticism, but I want to just help you to understand the point. 20a. L means read, C means read, MLT again, many, MSS manuscripts. So many manuscripts choose Mara. Let's go to 20a. Where are you? It's Mara, but Mara, it's the same Mara, but the spelling is different. So Men Resh Alet is written in BHS, and then many manuscripts choose Men Resh He. So the ending is different. Okay. And what is the difference between them? It's just only the difference of spelling. Okay. So in terms of what is it, the modern, what's the best word? Spontaneous or contemporary, I need to say contemporary Hebrew use, and manuscripts are thinking like spelling should be he. Okay, but I think in terms of meaning, there is no really big difference. 28a section is replaced by these. Okay, because we cannot see this kind of what is it? This kind of sign. Instead of, it says AA section in Septuagint, Syriac, Vulgate, use these two words instead of A words. What are they? 21 and A section. Where are you? A. Here. So we have Anabi. Anabi. So Anabi means what? And the Lord, Anna. What does it mean? Let's go to 21. Can you see this? So Anna is, let me show you the analysis of Anna means to answer and then afflict even. So it used the word in terms of afflicting. So in terms of BHS, then the YLT say, Jehovah has testified against me, or the Lord has afflicted me. Okay? So the idea is the Lord has done something against me. That is the idea of BHS. But the English, the Greek version is what? Let me see. Here, so the word etapeinosen, and I think we need to go to this Greek version and see what it means. We have, yes, this one is the Greek word. So this one means humbled, humbled. So the translation is totally different in terms of Septuagint. So the Lord humbled me. Okay, can you see that? So look at this again. Septuagint, Syriac, and Vulgate. Of course, I told you, Syriac and Vulgate tend to be dependent on Greek version. So when people were translating Greek version, and I mean, Septuagint was one of the oldest version, and when the people were using Latin and Syriac, they quickly adopted this famous Greek version because the Greek version was so popular at the time. So Syriac and Vulgate tend to be dependent on the translation of Septuagint, not all the time, but mostly. So that's why you can see the great portion of similarity between the agreement between Septuagint and Syriac and Vulgate. But anyway, so the idea is it indicates that what is it? The serious exegetical point. BHS sounds like God afflicted me against me. God gave me suffering. My husband died, and my daughter, my sons died, and I went through a lot of suffering. And Naomi is saying, God afflicted against me, according to BHS. So when Septuagint, the Greek scholars are translating this, they probably wanted to soften the idea. Instead of saying God was doing something, in a harsh way or severe way, they said, God humbled me. Do you understand? Isn't it interesting? It's quite interesting interpretation. Then my question is, what do you prefer? Of course, Septuagint will take all the reading. What is the shorter reading? I think we cannot see any significance in terms of shorter reading. And what is it? Difficult reading? I think BHS is much more difficult in terms, right? And then theological bias, I can say that Septuagint is more biased. Okay, so I think BHS deserves much more support in terms of original text, in my observation and evaluation. Okay, but of course we need to study about the word of what is it? Where are you? Ana. So does it really mean anything bad? Or can it be used in a positive way and constructive way? That's going to be another theological question. But anyway, in terms of textual criticism, I support the idea as it is. And it's good that most of English translations adopt it. Any question?
Doctor, for this part, for why this what's that? Why this the geographical support? So then in this part, Septuagint and Syriac and Vulgate, it goes for it. So that should we go for the variant reading has more support than the Masoretic?
And to be honest, it's a bit hard to answer. Why? Because we cannot really know what other manuscripts are standing by BHS. We only know these are supported by 3 versions: Septuagint, Syria, and Vulgate. When we want to give the
Yes.
support in terms of why this geographical, what is this, art, I think it should be more than 20 manuscripts supporting. So like MLT, many manuscripts. Then we can just, say that this one has a lot of supports. Then in this case, it's 3. And yeah, we don't know much about other medieval manuscripts supporting VHS, but it indicates that most of manuscripts, Hebrew manuscripts, are supporting VHS because we have only Septuagint and Syriac and Vulgate. But I don't want to really, certain in telling you that it is only Septuagint or Syriac Vulgate supporting this idea, because we don't know the specific information about which manuscripts are supporting this. But in this sense, it depends on your evaluation. But I would rather say PHS is more supported in terms of geographical support because we have only 3. Then we cannot say that it's widely accepted. Okay. All right. Thank you for the question.
Okay. Thank you.
And let me move on. Okay, I think this is a part of your assignment. So chapter 2, verse 1, A, many manuscripts adds kere. So kere is moda, and ketiv, which is written word, is me, u, da. So the difference between them is me, u, da is participle form of pual. Do you remember? Pual can take mem. That's why it is taking dagesh in the middle. Are you following me? So this one is coming from yada, actually, the Hebrew verb yada. So meaning knowing somebody. So it has something to do with knowing. So it can refer to acquaintance, someone that you know. But this moda, which is kere, means a noun, meaning kinsman, a relative. Okay? So that is a difference between them. So many manuscript is supporting kere. So in this case, you will probably better stay with kere. Whenever you have kere and ketiv, let me tell you this, you better stay with kere as a right translation. Okay? But anyway, it's good that many manuscripts are supporting kere. But I don't think there is many exegetical significant points here. Let me move on. 6AA section is missing and omitted in Syriac version. So 6AA, where are you? 6AA. So here, from here, ha-nitzab, ha-kotzerim. So those words are totally gone. So this is the one, and then this is participle form upon another participle form, the and kotzerim. So standing, I think this is the defined form of yatza. Okay, that's why we have ni in the beginning. It's a participle form. So the one who is actually standing or overseeing upon, the one, katzar means what? Harvesting. Okay, so the one harvesting. So it indicates hana'ar. Hana'ar is the boy. But who is the boy? It is a specification. So it means the one who is standing or managing upon the ones who are reaping, harvesting. So it provides the what is specific further information about hana'ar. So Syria version just omit this part, but it's only Syria. And in terms of all the reading, it takes less significance. So we better stay with this PHS. Okay? And let me just deal with the last one in Shabbat. There was quite interesting one. Okay, verse 18a says pa ta ru a, and 18a PHS is va te reha. So only the difference between them is vowel pointing under the prefix pronoun. So you can see that this one is what? Let me see. Okay, this one is la'a, but kamota. So her mother. So if you follow this, then you can see that, and her mother saw what? And blah, blah, blah. So, but this Syriac and Vulgate and few manuscripts using this word. And what is it? Pata under the top. Then this is hifil. So meaning cause somebody to see. So show. So then the idea is, and she showed. What is the difference? What is the difference? The subject is different. PHS is saying that it is the mother-in-law seeing what Naomi got. Okay? But if you stay with the variant reading, it is the subject is Naomi. Naomi is showing her mother-in-law what she got. Do you understand? So then the emphasis of who is acting here is different. So in terms of original reading, you can just choose, whatever is more supported in terms of the textual criticism table. Now, let me just give me just 2 minutes. Look at this. Sometimes you are wondering about some words, and you can search here. You gotta pay attention to me. This is really important. If we want to change the searching version, just let's say now the major platform is WTT, which is Hebrew Bible. But if we want to change NIV, just type NIV here. Then you need to change it to NIV, which means your base, the foundation of a searching engine is NIV. So now seeing NIV and you want to search for love, then how do you search the word? Start with comma, period, and then put the searching word. Let's say love, and enter. And then it will show you all references, including the word love from NIV. If we want to search the word love from YLT, then you need to change the searching Bible, then type period and change it to YLT. Not period, just YLT. Then it will change without period. See, you change it to YLT. Then searching engine start with the mark of period and put love, and it will show you all references. Then what about Hebrew words? You need to change it to WTT, which is Hebrew Bible, then WTT. So now you are on WTT, and you wanna search for, let's say, Amar. Then you need to start with period, okay? And you need to know how to put Hebrew letters. So, ma, ru. I know the Hebrew words. So I put it, enter, and it will direct to you the portion where you see the amar. Go to the one part and you click on it and you will see the analysis of the verb or word. In that sense, you can type the new word appearing in variant reading, which is not included in the text. You can just search for the words. Can you understand what I'm saying? And you can get some idea about it. Is that clear? So I taught you an important lesson in terms of use of your Bible words. So whenever you are curious about one word, whether it is adjective, noun, or verb, you can use this searching engine and go to the specific part and make sure that it has the same vowel point. Sometimes if it has different vowel pointing, then it can be used in different form or stem. So you make sure that the vowel pointings are identical and go to the specific reference and then get some idea about the specific passage. Do you have any question? Okay. Can I see the great Hebrew scholars smiling at the storm? Now I know textual criticism is a bit confusing, and the way we are taking this lesson is a bit, how can I say, slowly moving. So without dealing with a lot of exemplary cases, you may not have concrete and clear understanding of what you are doing. But this is the way that I developed the course. Okay. So when you are in trouble, don't panic and don't be too much disappointed. This is a learning process. Some of you are too much concerned about probably your grade, but do not think that way. What you are understanding, what you are learning is the most important part. So I hope when we are moving on to another passage and we are going to repeat the process, okay? And I think you will do better job. So which means when it comes to the evaluation or marking of your previous assignment in terms of syntax or text or criticism that you just submit before today's class, I can be quite generous. Okay, so don't too much worry about the grades, but do not give up and see the value of studying those things. That is my purpose. Okay, of teaching you and guiding you this way. But my expectation is when we start new passage, which is Psalm 37, my expectation is becoming higher from you guys because you are dealing with this not right now with me. But previously, you probably didn't understand what it means by all those assignments and in those things. And it was syntax. I know you are struggling, but make sure that from this new chapter onward, your understanding must be thorough than before, and then more accurate. Do you have any question? Okay. You needed to submit another assignment before the class on Thursday, which is the analysis of all the verbs and the translations of the passage of Psalm 37 for verses 1 through 10. Okay, so I think it's quite straightforward. Analyze all the verbs and put the translation. Do you have any question regarding your assignment? And be ready for your translation quiz on Thursday. Okay. In order for me to be clear, I need to be quite strict about the due date. So those who submit your assignment after the due date, I will give you a second chance, but there will be 20% deduction. So there are some students who submit your just previous assignments today, then I gave you 2 times of second chance. Then there will be another 20% deduction. Okay, I cannot simply just wait and wait. If I tell you, okay, it should be submitted by this day, keep the due date. If you go over it, I will give you a second chance, but it will be 20% deduction. But you cannot keep the due date for the second chance. I will give you the third chance, but there will be another 20% deduction, but there will be no fourth chance. Do you understand? That's it. So please do your best. And one more time, I need to let you know that it is only, I need to say, 20% of the assignments given to the previous Hebrew students. Not say this is quite a lot. And I'm really becoming realistic. Can you recognize that I gave up even one passage? You know, it's a big sacrifice from my perspective, but I don't really want to give you a lot of assignment without understanding the part. So I'm intentionally moving slowly. Okay, it's not about speed, but about the level of understanding. Okay, so please be grateful that you have Pastor Chun Kim learning this Hebrew 3. Okay, I don't want to see you complaining about this amount of assignment, but just do your best and learn something and love Hebrew language. Praise the Lord. I'm going to see you on Thursday. Bye.
Professor,
Yeah.
hello,
Thank you,
Professor.
sir.
When
Thank
will
you, sir. God
upload
bless you.
today's lecture to YouTube?
I'm sorry?
When will you upload today's lecture, like record to YouTube?
Yes, we will do that. So
Okay.
every lesson will be uploaded to our YouTube. And then I ask the IT guys to follow up immediately.
Okay.
So you will be able to look at it. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you, Doctor.